What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Moses Muscle, and I'm coming at you with a solo Next Up podcast. So here we go. We got questions. Now I'm gonna get into them. I asked a question box on Instagram. I also had some questions kind of asked over the course of the week. So just wanted to get into these and get these answered for you guys. Figured doing it in a long form content was probably our better idea here. So let's get into it. First question: when did you decide it was time for you to step on stage? So a lot of people don't know this because why would you? But I had a failed prep. That was in 2021. I was supposed to be doing the East Coast Mecca or East Coast Classic or something along those lines. Um, it was like September 29th. And I quit about 3 weeks before the show. I was not in shape for it. One, I had broken up with my girlfriend like a couple days before that. Two and three, the gym at the time was not in the best spot. I think I was coaching like 6 classes um before that, and then as soon as like prep started getting real, I went to coaching like 12 classes or 15 classes a week. I had a coach left leave, so that sucked, and it made me realize like, yo, now is not the right time. Stress was super high. I wasn't really sleeping. And I was just driving myself into the floor. And I was just like, yo, I'm not lean enough to be feeling this miserable. I was the leanest I'd ever been, but like that, I was not going to look good on stage. So cancel that. But to get to the actual question, when did I feel like it was the right time for me to step on stage? Um, After that, realistically, I kind of left it in the hands of my coach. I had the lofty goal of going pro in 2 shows, which was never the right way to think about it. But I really just wanted to turn around and put something on stage that like my coach would be proud of, not even myself. I was going to be proud no matter what. I finished the prep. So I wanted to make sure that like I had some version of a physique to actually step on stage. I never knew what I could look like or was going to look like. So I kind of just hoped for the best. Um, I had lofty goals, like I said. I thought I was the next C-bum. I thought I was this. I thought I was that, and it doesn't work out that way. So for you, for anyone watching this, when the time is right for you to step on stage, when you're in a good financial situation, your life is in a good spot, you have a good job, either you're living at home or you have your own place. Literally everything just should be balanced, settled. You shouldn't be in a stressful situation. You should be in a spot where you feel pretty good about your life. And if then you want to take that jump into competing, take that jump into competing. If you're waiting for a certain physique or a certain musculature, you never know when that's going to come. So I would say just hop right on in. You'll never know until you know. So, and also start if you're self-coaching, start with just a hard diet. Just get lean. And then from there, you could decide on the show if you really want to continue pushing. If you're working with a coach, kind of do the same thing. Just say to the coach, like, hey, I really just want to get like really absolutely gutted, peeled. And if it ends in a show prep, cool. If it doesn't, like, all right, whatever. You set yourself up for a really good rebound. So that's that question. Next, what's the biggest difference so far with this prep in comparison to last prep? All right, the biggest difference is I'm in a way leaner starting point. Um, I started prep and kind of looked like I was already in prep for a while, versus last year I was a tub of lard. So I saw some initial weight loss like right off the bat, but it didn't do much to the look. Whereas this time, like I haven't really lost a ton of weight, and the look is drastically improving. So I would say that's the biggest thing. The second biggest thing is just having like, I'll be honest, my entire offseason going into last prep, I had the headspace of like, I'm winning the overall. I'm getting my pro card, blah, blah, blah. And this time around, I'm going in there with the only intention of just showing up and working really hard now to make myself damn hard to beat. I'm not saying that like, oh, I already won, but like whoever is going to win is going to have to work very hard. So why can't I be the hardest worker in the room? And if I'm not, all right, well, that guy beat me. Like fair and square. He work damn harder than me. So that's kind of what my idea is there. And then I would say the last thing is like honestly the peptides. I didn't have Retta last year. I didn't use Mot-C. I didn't use SLU. I used SLU at the end. Um, and it was a lot more like true what we would classify as like drugs, right? Like Clen, uh, T4, T3. Actually, I only use T3. Things like that, as opposed to like, a little MOTS-C or, a Retta or a SS31 or any of the newer peptides, the VPCs, all the stuff that like is out there now. I didn't use any of those. So this time around, I am. We'll see how it changes the look. I'll tell you this, in the off season running Retta, my waist has never been smaller than it was this off season. So I know that that's going to translate once all the weight starts coming up. All right, next one. Do you think most people wait too long between sets or too little? That's a very complicated question. Like I'm looking outside the office right now, and there's somebody just sitting on there on their phone. Um, so I'm gonna say most people probably take too long because the general human being who goes to the gym is on their phone in between sets. They're not training. They're pretty much scrolling and then like occasionally doing an exercise. Whereas like you then also have the one guy who comes in the gym, supersets 20 exercises, and then like, he's just full blown the whole time. So, you got to find your happy medium. I think the right move is that on any isolation type movements, something like arms, something like a pec deck, something like those, minute 30 tops. Compound movement, especially for the big one, especially if it's a lacking body part, rest long enough to where you need to elicit strength in the next set. You should not go into the next set and be winded. But also, don't take 15 minutes. Don't lose your pump and then have to warm up again. Like that's a terrible idea. So like, you know, 2 to 5 minutes, probably a good range. It depends on the exercise. Again, like if you're doing a flat chest press, probably closer to 2 minutes. If you're doing a 15 to 20 rep leg press set, probably closer to 5 minutes just to catch your breath again. All right. All right. We can go with the drug question. So favorite cycle. My favorite cycle ever was probably this last one that I ran, which was test EQ, and then I was doing an MPP DECA split. So I like to split the nandrolone into two separate compounds, one shorter acting, one faster acting, or one faster acting, one longer acting. Um, I would get the benefits of like the long-term DECA where like, the kind of pop to me. The elbows would feel good because of how quick the MPP would go in. Like the mix always just did better for me. And I also found that I'd convert a little bit less. So I definitely would say that. I like EQ. I think EQ is bastardized, or now it's not because everyone has to run it because there's a shortage. But I think EQ has always been bastardized, and it's down to the fact that you have to train to need EQ. Everyone always talks about how it affects your kidneys, how it affects your blood markers, things like that. But realistically, like if you're training in a 4 to 8 rep range, the steroid itself was made or is used in horses to run for longer periods of time. A mile and a half in a horse race is what, like 2 minutes, something like that. But like in theory, that's a longer period of time. So you got to think like if you're sitting there and you're doing, 4 to 6 reps, that's not going to take very long. No matter how slow you go in negatives, you're not getting a minute out of that set. But if you're training in the 12, 15, 20 rep range, you're going to get more out of it. And I think that's where you really see the benefit of running an EQ because with the higher hematocrit, with the higher hemoglobin, you're going to have more oxygen in the cells. Therefore, you're going to actually be able to use that oxygen when you need it in the exercises. So you might not see those markers go up quite as much, or you might see the drug do more in the terms of effect. And then test is best. With that said, obviously, growth hormone. I think growth hormone is the thing that has given my physique the biggest change over time. It's not directly hypertrophic. It does not increase muscle cells, or it does not grow muscle tissue, is what I should say. But how GH works is that it increases the proliferation of cells. I always struggle to say that word. So there's more cells there. Like it's multiplying cells. So if you're sitting there and you think about the fact of like you are causing damage to a muscle tissue, it is breaking down and it's repairing, and you're giving it this fuel and nutrients that it needs. The GH is going to allow you to better utilize that fuel by just having more things like satellite cells in the area, making sure that you are in a position where you can actually utilize the nutrient. So, like, I think growth hormone is huge. Also, the fact that it helps with sleep, you can get better sleep while being on growth hormone. That's going to be huge as well. So, if you can recover better, it's going to help you to grow more muscle. So, that's it. Realistically, that's my favorite cycle. Again, not really including peptides here. So, like, there's obviously peptides in play: Retta, MOTS, BPC 157, TB 500, insulin if needed. Like truly, actually, let's just go with the trifecta right now. Test, insulin, GH. You just take those, you'll get huge. Um, you might need an AI at some point. You can use the EQ as an AI. You can use a Masteron as an AI. You can use Primo as an AI. I don't really love the idea of the last two because they're highly faked and you're not really going to find them right now. But you could. All right. Next question was PPL versus bro split. Let's put it this way. Let's just go splits in general. I think people put way too much merit on splits. I think there's way too much of a hang up on like, what split should I run? What split's going to get me the best gains? What split do you have time for? If you can only get to the gym 3 times in a week, maybe you should be going upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower, because then you'll have 3 lower or 2 lower sessions in a week. You'll have 2 upper sessions in a week, and you'll be rotating back and forth. Maybe you should go push pull legs because everything's pretty even and you can get all the stimulus you need out of that. Maybe you should be going full body because you're pretty new to training. So it really depends on what your time is. But if I had to personally pick one for myself, I would say push pull legs. And my split would pretty much run like this. I'd do 5 days and I would do what I'm doing right now. So legs, push, off, legs, push, pull, off. So that's what I would personally run. I think that's probably the best split for me. It depends on the weak point if you're going to do that. I don't suggest doing 6 days a week. I think that's a terrible idea. I also don't think doing 3 on 1 off is a good idea. Another favorite split I've run was legs push off. No, sorry. It was push, pull, off, legs off, repeat. There was an A and a B cycle with that. So it was like 6 sessions every 10 days. It was an undulating schedule, so like it didn't kind of coincide with the week, but I felt well rested for my leg days. I had a rest day before. I felt well rested for my leg days. I had a rest day beforehand, a rest day after. So it was like go in, absolutely annihilate yourself, and get out. Um, and then the push and the pull sessions, it was get in, train hard, and it's nice to have those 2 days back to back. But then like, hey, after that pull session's over, my next thing that I'm thinking about is legs when it comes to training. So that was always a good one. Um, the bro split, I think it depends on who you are and where you're at muscularly. Like the bigger you are, I think the better off it's going to be. The more balanced you are, the better off it's going to be. But like personally, I don't think that I need to be out here doing just a back day or like a back and triceps day. Um, I have a pull day now, but like that volume is so low that if everything's all together, volume is all antiquated equally, I don't think that's going to work for most people. So take that how you will. I would say the best split is probably going to be some version of a push pull legs to your needs. So 5 days a week, pick your 2 weaker, groups of muscles, and hammer them. So that's how I would do that one personally. All right. Do you believe it's necessary to get a little soft in a bulk to gain muscle? This one's kind of a hot topic. I do. I think that in in your earlier bodybuilding days, in your earlier weight training days, if you are trying to actively bulk and you got to a very lean starting point, you do need to get a little fat. And I think that's not only do you need to get a little fat, you need to stay a little fat. You need to be up in an elevated body weight for a good period of time because you're now teaching your body to operate at a heavier point. I'm not saying to get sloppy. I'm not saying be 25, 20, 23, 25% body fat. I'm saying, upper echelon, like 18%. Maybe you still have some visible ab lines, maybe you don't, but like you're not chunky. I do think you have to gain a little bit of fat in order to do that. It's going to give you leverage on the bar. It's going to allow you to push your strength upwards. You're going to be eating in a surplus for a longer period of time. As long as you gave yourself the runway to do that, you're going to be in a really good spot. So I think that turning around and getting lean and then growing from there, taking the time, making an extended bulk phase, and getting a little soft is not the worst idea in the world. So I am very biased in that one, and I do think that you should actually get a little at least in the first couple times that you're bulking, you're trying to put on a substantial amount of muscle mass. And the smaller you start, the more often you're probably going to have to do that. Realistically, once you start putting on a significant amount of muscle mass, it's going to be hard to get that soft to begin with. You're just not going to. You're going to have abs year round. You're going to have muscle that shows through year round just because you have that much tissue. Even when the fat accumulates, it's spread out over a larger surface area. It's going to be harder to see that that person is quote unquote fat. So that is my 100% opinion on that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think that you need to get a little soft in a bulk to gain muscle, especially in the beginning of your bodybuilding phase. So next, opinions on flavored creatine. I do think that it's to a degree a waste of money. But if it's something that's going to help you get your water down, and you struggle to get your water down, fucking do it, man. Um, Like, I don't think that that should be something that's like held in the highest regard. That shouldn't be something that you're out here spending your last dollar on. But again, if you are sitting there and you are absolutely struggling to get water in, and you are somebody who, you have the disposable income to turn around and go and buy your flavored, uh, your flavored creatine, go ahead, and do it. It really shouldn't be overthought. Ooh, there's a little bit of sucralose in there, but not a huge deal. Just make sure that like you're not overdoing it, not doing like 7 scoops of the stuff just because you like the taste of it. Um, it can affect your digestion in some way, shape, or form. So I would suggest just like if you're struggling to get water in, do a scoop of it, helps you get your water in, you're good to go. So that would be my opinion on that one. Let's go with this one. We got training to failure versus 1 to 2 RIR. Right. So I might get some flack for this one. Um, but I've said this before on another podcast. So realistically, I firmly believe in training to failure. And the reason I believe in training to failure, the main reason that I believe in training to failure and why I think it's the greatest thing is that if you are sitting there and you have a leg press and you put all your effort into the leg press, you know if you can get another one or not when that bar is stuck to your fucking chest. And the answer is no. It's binary. It's 0 or 1. It's a yes or no. Did I fail? Did I not fail? Now, the problem with that and why most people don't like to do that is yes, there is a higher risk for injury, but also a lot of people can't get there. They can't mentally say, like, I'm going for this one. I don't care what happens here. If I die under this bar, I die under this bar. And that's fine. It's just not for you on that point. But like to turn around, most people are fine with training chest to failure, right? You get under a bar, you get under the chest press, you turn around, you're pressing until you just physically can't. Easy. Back, a lot of people don't know to just keep pulling, right? Legs, it's a little scary because the weights are bigger. But if you pick a movement that's safe, you feel strong in, and you just turn around and you go until you physically can't, you're going to be in a good spot. Now, then you have, 1 to 2 RIR. That is what the science says, right? Like the proximity to failure. But if you're sitting there and you are, I'm going to cut this at 10 because really I can get 12. What if you could have gotten 13? What if you could have gotten 15? What if you had it in the tank to turn around and actually get more? That's where the problem lies, is your proximity to failure can be skewed because of the pain that you're feeling in the set, whereas you might have been able to get more. And that's why I don't personally love RIR. I like training to failure. I think that training to failure is a very, very clear answer to yes or no. Did you fail? Did you not fail? Did you train as hard as you could? Did you train, or did you pretty much pussy out? If you turn around and you say, I have a really good gauge, I have one left, do it. Like that is what's technically right. But if you're not sure, because sometimes you grind out 2, 3 reps that you did not think you had. I've had it happen. I'm sure that you've had it happen if you're watching this. So you have to sit there and you have to say, like, yo, I might not be able to get this, but I would rather find out than not find out. Um, so that's my stance on RIR versus 1 rep in reserve. All right. Let us get into the next question. Oh, 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 I lost it. I lost it. All right. Craziest drug story. All right. Let's preface this with I have not done a crazy amount of drugs. It took me until pretty much graduating college to smoke weed for the first time. It's a college football player. Couldn't do that. So here goes my craziest drug story. I was just about to own Ultimate. The gyms were not open yet. I had just moved home from Rhode Island, and my ex-girlfriend at the time, it was her birthday, or it was her birthday celebration. I did not really get along with her friends, so I was not invited to this celebration. I had this inkling that this girl was cheating on me, and I was pretty positive of it. So when I called her that night to kind of like talk to her and found out that she was out at the celebration, I got tight. I ain't gonna hold you. I got tight. And then I heard a guy's voice in the background. And I sat there and I go, oh, okay, all right, got that. Right. So I kept driving. Right. I'm driving home and there's a park by my house. So I pulled up in the park, went to go light me a little jizzy. As soon as I went to go and put the damn thing to my mouth and light it, I see a cop pull into the car. My car's still on. So I got, you know what? Let me get the fuck up out of here. So I get in the car, or I'm in the car still. I just lit this thing, right? And I'm like, ah, damn, I'm not gonna be able to put this out, like whatever, right? So as the cop pulls in, I just leave. As I'm leaving, I see the cop pull a hard U. So I try to make the left real quick, try to make another left real quick, right? And get to my driveway. As I made the second left through the joint out the window, made sure that just in case. Thankfully, they didn't see that because as I then turned around and got to my driveway, lights are on, sirens are on. I'm like, yo, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, bro, you got to be kidding me right now, right? I go to get out of the car to go into the house because I didn't realize, like, yo, you can't get out of the car if you're pulled over in your own driveway. Get back in the car. What? I'm home. I'm in my driveway. What do you mean? Get back in the car. Runs up on me with a gun, right? Get back in the car. I'm telling you right now to get you back in the car. Whoa. Okay. I'll get back in the car. Please put the gun away. I'll cooperate. I don't know what's going on here. Right? Get back in the car. Smells like weed in the car. Were you smoking in the car? I didn't smoke. Right? Plausible deniability, folks. I didn't smoke. I lit it. Never inhaled. I was sober. So I just kind of sat there and I was like, no, I didn't smoke. They go, well, it smells a lot like weed in the car. I go, I didn't say that no one smoked in the car. I said that I did not smoke. Oh, so you just let people smoke in your car? Yeah, my friend was in the car. He smoked. Did you hotbox? Are you high? No, I wasn't even in the car when he was smoking. Okay, we'll see about that, right? They go back to their car. Sooner or later, my mother comes outside, freaking out, right? Um, they called up some people like to talk to these police officers. There is a cop standing right outside of my car. I have the door open, right, 1 foot out, and like he's like, "You take one step, I'm gonna have to arrest you." And I was like, "Yo, like it's really not that deep. Like I don't even know what's going on here. You guys have nothing for me to get like arrested on or like get a ticket for. I didn't do anything at this point." So long story short, which that was already the long story, and I'm not making it any shorter. But they turned around and they just left. That was it. They made a big deal about it for nothing. And again, I didn't smoke. I lit it, definitely smelled in the car, but I had not smoked. So, moral of the story, if you're gonna smoke, don't do it in your car, especially now. It's legal now. But yeah, so the other moral of the story is if you suspect someone's cheating on you, they probably are. So get out. And don't care after you do. So that's how we'll wrap this tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys got any questions, comment down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Next up podcast, codes, HD Muscle, Code Moses, Natural Body, Code Moses. Run them up, man. Do me a favor, run them up. If you need supplements, if you need anything like that, please use a code. Oh, lift fucking heavy, Code Moses. Um, you need clothes, you need supplements, run it up. Support the people who support you. Um, they're mainly my friends. Like John is my friend over at HD. Natural Body, the whole staff is my friends. Joe over at the fucking heavy is my friend. Like, so please support them, support me, support them. That's all. Have a great night.